Hello again. Last week we learnt about how Peter the fisherman was called by Jesus to be on his team, to be one of the 12 disciples. This week we are back again by the Sea of Galilee. But today it looks rather rough and stormy. I think it's going to rain. It looks quite scary to me. I wonder what things you might be scared of. Here's a little quiz about phobias. See how many you know.
Brontophobia is the fear of dinosaurs, thunder, the colour brown, Arachnophobia is the fear of clothes, crowds, spiders, Glossophobia is the fear of speaking in public, lip gloss, shiny paint, Phonophobia is the fear of telephones, loud noises, bells, How did you get on? We can be frightened of many, many things, can't we? Let's find out more about Peter.
Peter and his friends were experienced fishermen. They weren't often scared about being out on the lake. But here is an account from the Bible about a night that was very stormy and very scary.
Peter walks on the water, from Matthew chapter 14. Jesus sent his helpers and Peter across to the other side of the lake in a boat. He was tired. He wanted to be by himself to rest and pray. He had been talking to lots of people all day. Soon the wind began to blow and the waves got bigger and bigger. Peter and his friends were getting scared. If only Jesus was here, they said. Then they saw someone coming towards them, walking on top of the water. No one could walk on water like that. They were terrified. At first, they thought they'd seen a ghost, but then Jesus called out, "Don't be scared, it's only me." Peter couldn't believe his eyes and said, "If it really is you, Jesus, then tell me to come to you on the water." He got out of the boat and began to walk over the water to Jesus. While he kept looking at Jesus, Peter was safe. But when he looked at the stormy sea, he was frightened and began to sink down in the water. "Help me, Jesus," he cried. Jesus reached out his hand and caught Peter. Even though the wind blew and the waves crashed around them while he kept looking at Jesus, Peter was safe. They got back into the boat and the storm stopped. They were feeling so much better now that Jesus was with them.
Wow, what an amazing event that was. Can you imagine what it would have been like to see Jesus walking on the water? Would you have believed it? No wonder they thought he was a ghost. It seemed so amazing. But yet that's what the Bible says. It says that Jesus walked on water. Well, of course, Peter was quite impetuous, quite hot-headed. And Peter thought he could do it. Let's just read from the Bible what happens. Peter said, "Lord, if it's really you, order me to come out on the water to you." "Come," answered Jesus. So Peter got out of the boat and started walking on the water. But when he noticed the strong wind, he was afraid and started to sink down in the water. "Save me, Lord," he cried. At once Jesus reached out and grabbed hold of him and said, "How little faith you have! Why did you doubt?" They both got into the boat and the wind died down. Then the disciples in the boat worshipped Jesus. "Truly, you are the Son of God," they exclaimed. So the disciples realized then that Jesus was more than just a good friend, more than just somebody who could talk and tell stories and teach them about God. They were beginning to realize that Jesus really was God's Son. And Peter, well, sometimes Peter did things in a bit of a rush. Sometimes Peter thought he could do things on his own. But we discovered that when he took his eyes off Jesus, that's when he began to sink. And Christians believe that we can fix our eyes on Jesus too. We can't see him in person the way that Peter did. But Christians believe that we can trust Jesus because we know about him from the Bible, because we can pray, because we can worship Jesus. And we know that if we keep our eyes fixed on him, yes, things might happen that are sad, that are scary, but Jesus will always be there for us. And if we trust in him, then he will get us through. So for Christians, that's a really important part of the Bible, as we realise that Peter thought he could do things on his own, but then he realised he really needed Jesus. And that's what Christians believe too. There are things we can do on our own, but we really need Jesus to be with us all the time. So the disciples were beginning to discover just who Jesus was. And next time, we'll discover a bit more about the identity of Jesus.